hello everyone, and welcome to this beautiful night called Heart Healing with Rose Oil. It's pretty hard to even think about what's going on in the world at the moment and to not be impacted in some way, shape or form, whether you're impacted directly or whether others around you are surrounded by you or impacted. It's we're all being sort of affected in a number of ways. And it extends even further than that. There's a lot going on in the world at the moment. I know from a client point of view and even from a personal point of view, and colleagues of mine here, we've all had some pretty full on, pretty intense things been happening lately. And I don't know whether, recently I did a winter wellness one and the universe, I'm sure, gave me a terrible head cold a few days before it, just to make sure that I was on target with all of my knowledge around essential oils and this sort of information. And it made me make sure I had all the oils out and I was using them. So when I was about to share with you, I really did experience it and understand it. And I'm not sure that if it was doing it again to me, but it's been a pretty full on, maybe last month and a half. I've had some pretty big stuff happen personally, had a little car accident, had some grief, and it was really intense time. And I also had some beautiful friends and colleagues have some, big things happen for them as well, and some loss. And then I'm, as you know, a therapist myself, and I treat clients in my clinic, and it's been a really similar theme. I've had lots of people come to me with some full-on grief and loss, and just a little bit lost in themselves. So the amount of rose that I have been using has been incredible. And so when it was suggested to do this heart healing with rose essential oil tonight, it just seemed perfect. So I really wanted to share with you how I've been using rose in the clinic and on myself and with others to really share it. So before we go into that, I wanted to talk about, when we're going to talk so much about the different roses and the different types and the difference between them and how you can use them. But I'm going to talk about, well, what makes me say rose is an oil that I should use, and is there others that I can use? And I'm going to go back to that good old aroma tree an analogy, if you like, and I can virtually imagine a few eye rolls going on out there, because I think a few of you know how I talk about aromatry quite a bit, but I do it because I find it such a useful tool. As a therapist with 25 years experience, I still find the simplicity of the aromatry concept, how it helps me when I'm either looking for an essential oil blend for myself, or whether I'm treating a client sitting in front of me. I really look at it, and I look at the how the part of the plant is affecting how it treats and how it works on the plant, and how it will work with us. And in particular about grief and loss and heart healing, which is what we want to talk about. So if I'm looking at the tree, I might choose a wood oil as well to complement with my rose. I might use a wood oil, and I would use a wood oil to offer some stability and some strength and power and confidence, because in times of grief and loss, and you can get a bit shaky, can't you? You can start to feel a little bit unsure. So I would be looking at that if my client, or if I'm of myself, if I'm feeling a bit shaky and losing my way, I'd look at definitely using a wood oil, so something like sandalwood or cedar wood or Buddha wood, you know, something like that, that has a beautiful warmth to it and a roundness to it that just really helps, you know, bring that to the blend. And then sometimes with grief and loss and you know, that heart healing as well, you can be sad, like it's sad, it's just pure sadness. And so I would look at using oils from the fruit, because when you think about fruit, well, the fruit is, again, it grows in the sunshine, and it absorbs the sunshine and the brightness, and it's joyful, and it's light, and it's bright, and you know, it's positive, you know, it gives enthusiasm. So if you're finding that your grief is really making you sad, or you're really struggling to see joy in things, you know, I would complement my rose with maybe a beautiful citrus oil, you know, like a bit of bergamot or a bit of grapefruit, you know, something like that to give it that freshness. And then I think about the leaves. Now, this might be a bit of a harder one to think about, because you think leaves, you know, eucalyptus, tea tree, what are you talking about, grief? But what do the leaves do for the plant? Well, the leaves they breathe for the plant, and they help us get a breath again, take that time again, and they open us up to new ideas and new concepts. So maybe it's time to reflect, you know, maybe it's time to think of something completely different and something out of the box. And using an oil from a leaf can be really happy, you know, open to do that. Now, you do have to be careful. I don't know if you did my creative blending workshop or if anyone's done it yet. And if you do, you get this little chart, but you do just need to be a little bit careful when you're blending leaf oils with floral blend, like the floral oils, because they can be very overpowering. So just make sure that when you are doing it, that you're a little light-handed on it. So don't use a lot of it. And I did this not too long ago. I actually put some rose otto with a little bit of eucalyptus, and it was just beautiful. It was the northern Mallee eucalyptus. It's in the kit, the limited edition kit, and it's from North Queensland, and it's a lighter, fresher, more delicate oil, eucalyptus. It doesn't have that really traditional eucalyptus smell. It still does, but it's lighter, and blended with the rose otto, it allowed a more positive, refreshing, and yet still nurturing and loving and enveloping. Like, it was a beautiful blend. So you can use that. So that's where I'd be using rose combined with some leaf oils to, again, open my clients up to the new concepts and new ideas and looking at life with a different aspect. So you can do it that way. Then there's resin. And so again, what does the resin do for the tree? Well, it's sap, isn't it? So the tree's wounded, and then this is the resin is what is formed to heal the plant, you know, and they're things like frankincense and myrrh and benzoin. Well, those oils are healing oils. So many of them are cytophylactic in nature. So they have healing properties physically, and that's why you see them in skincare products as well, because we have a beautiful, an amazing a blend that has rose otto and frankincense in it. And it allows the skin to rejuvenate and refresh and you know, restore. It's beautiful. But on an energetic and an emotional level, if somebody was really wounded by the loss, there was a wound that you wanted to feel, you know, to heal, whether it's physically or metaphorically, you know, I would be looking at using resins with my rose. It would be a beautiful combination. And then there's the roots of the tree, which is, the earthing, grounding. So, ginger and vetiver and valerian. Now, a lot more earthy notes. So again, be very careful when you're blending that you're not too heavy-handed with them. Be very gentle. The smallest amount is all you need, but I don't know if that vetiver has that walking through the forest smell. And imagine that with a little bit of risotto, how that can balance to be just this beautiful, nurturing, but grounding blend. So that's really good for people that might be running away with their thoughts, running away with their grief, going away with it. And this can help them ground you to just sort of be there a little bit and then move through. And then of course there's flowers. So there's nothing stopping you blending some of the flowers. So why do we give flowers? Well, we give them for grief, but we also give them for love. So we give them for love and grief. And to this day, I just can't go by neroli when it comes to grief with a little bit of risotto. It's exquisite, albeit a little bit expensive choice. But if you are really wanting something that's going to just really soothe and help you with that loss that you're feeling, I would be definitely one to suggest it. So you can see just in that moment of talking to you now, how you can blend rose with different things depending on what it is that you're wanting to heal and you're wanting to sort of deal with, and how you're dealing with it, which is why I'm always saying to my clients and to anyone that I speak to, make sure that you tap in and you listen to what your body's feeling. Are you feeling sad? Are you feeling, are you feeling lost? Are you feeling wounded? You could be feeling all of those things too. But it's about sort of, listening to your body about what's really happening for you, and then using the oils in the way that you can do. So I hope that that's sort of making sense. I've gone off on a tangent already, people. It's going to be it's going to be one of those nights, I think. I hope that you all still stay with me. Now, remembering that that information about aromatry is in Sal's aromatry book. So I know I do mention it a lot, but I really do find it a fabulous book for people to refer to and use. Like, have a really read it a few times. The more you read it, the more you sort of absorb and get into it. So it's fabulous. Before we also start, I wanted to also let you know about a monograph that Sal has done, and it's on his website. Deb's going to pop the link in the email tomorrow. Deb, is that right? Yeah. So, yep, she sure is. So I've got the thumbs up. Sal does an amazing job of putting together monographs. They're so complex. There's so much research, in this. This is 8 pages of research just about rose. So it's really a wonderful resource that you can go to, and there's a lot more information in here that we won't touch on tonight. Things like we won't talk a lot about chemical constituents because we've only got half an hour, and I want to talk more about the subtle and that really how to use it for grief and loss. But if you're wanting to really look at the rose oils, make sure you have a look at that monograph. And also remember that Sal's Complete Guide to Aromatherapy Volume 1 has the monograph of the oil, and then Volume 3 is the subtle and the psyche. So it's going to be elaborating way more on that sort of side of things that we'll touch on tonight, because it's again, it's only half an hour, and I could go on forever and ever. Before we go much further, I also want to encourage you that if you have rose oil at home, that you take it out and you I've put some on me already because I wanted to really just get in the zone tonight, if you like. This is Rose Otto. Rose Otto is absolutely amazing. It's my favorite, and I use it. I use it so much with my clients. But you've got Rose Otto, maybe you've got Rose Absolute. So that would be another oil that we'll do, and we'll talk about the differences really soon. There's another product that's Perfect Potion that you might have. It's the new Rollerballs, and it's they're at 5% now, so they've actually increased in dilution, and they are just magnificent. And I loved how Debbie, my colleague here at Perfect Potion, described it before. She said it's like walking through a rose garden when you smell it. And it so is. You just have it on. It's just beautiful on the skin. It's so light, and you can just wear it as a perfume and just rub it on. It's so good. The beauty of a rollerball too is, and I'm again sorry everyone, I'm digressing, and I will promise to keep going. But if you have any, if you're a female and you have any menstrual cramping or anything like that, using a rollerball on your tummy, using this rose. Just using it daily, a little bit every day, and rubbing your tummy in a clockwise and anti-clockwise. It's up, across and down. So you have an ascending, a transverse, and a descending colon. So you want to make sure that you rub it in an anti-clockwise way. So you're doing it that way. And then the other wonderful oil that you could possibly get is the 500 Roses product. Again, I'm smelling like a rose bud right now. I've got it all over me, and I just take the opportunity to continue to do so. But this is what I use daily on my skin. So after I've showered and I come out and I wash my face, I'll put rose oil all over me. I just love it. It's just such a beautiful blend, and it's light. It goes on the skin, it absorbs quickly, and it leaves that beautiful rose smell. So there's lots of ways that you can use the oils. If you want to, you can also remember that our compassion oil, Mother Earth, Soul Comfort, and Hug Time all have rose oil in the blends, so you're still getting that rosy smell. And then of course there's the Elixir of the Heart perfume, so that's the other product. So there's lots of different ways that you can get your rose, if you know, depending on your budget and depending on how you're wanting to use it. You know, if you're wanting to use it in a treatment, like, and you're wanting to blend it with other oils, you're looking at the Rose Otto or the Rose Absolute. And then otherwise you've got lots of other products that you can use to diffuse or put over your body and rub in daily to get those amazing benefits of rose. So we're going to talk about a little bit more about rose and why is rose such an amazing oil to heal. And I love this quote, and this one is, it's, to me, it really does tell me a lot more about rose. The soul can be likened to the rose. As the rosebud blooms, so the soul unfolds itself. For the rosebud to bloom, 5 conditions are required: fertile soil, bright sun, water, air, and space. And the same 5 conditions are required for the unfoldment of the soul. So isn't that beautiful? Doesn't that just, to me, it describes the properties of rose so well. It allows me to see that by using this oil and by nurturing myself and by giving me some space and some time and some love and compassion, all these things that we need to continue to do for ourselves, combined that with this powerful, beautiful oil of Rose Otto, can really nurture our souls. It can really help with physically healing our heart. And so that's one of the things that I think it really explains it really, really well. And as a therapist, you know, when a client comes to me with grief or loss, or they're having some, you know, real self-doubt, analyzation, I don't think that's even a word, is it? Sorry, I just make up words now. It's so self-critiquing. You can really find yourself in a space where you're not really sure, but I find that rose can just bring you home. It can center you, it can connect you. And it's no wonder that rose is so aligned with the heart chakra as well. So if you think about it from the chakras, you know, the heart chakra, all about love, compassion, self-love, support. And that is the rose oil as well. So you can look at it. So let's talk a little bit more about rose from its botanical names and things like that. So you're making sure that when you're looking at rose, what's rose? You know, what is rose? You know, you go to the shop and it's rose, you know. So, I won't dwell on this a lot as well, because some of you may have done my last one, which was how to choose essential oils. If you didn't get that, all of these free webinars are available on the Perfect Potion YouTube channel. So you can go in and watch them at any time that you like as well. So go back, and I hear them. We did get a little bit of comment that there was a couple of glitches in the last one. We've hopefully rectified that this time. But so if you did miss it and you wanted to go back and watch it, it's on the Perfect Potion YouTube channel. So you can go in and watch them there. But if you wanted to know more about how to choose the right oils, we're not really going to go into that much detail tonight. But you could learn more in that last one. So look that up. The two major rose species of oil that we use, because there's actually it says 3,200 species of the rose oil is out there, but so it's really quite amazing, isn't it? You know, containing 150 species of oil. So we've got a lot of roses to choose from, but there are 3 varieties that are mainly used, and they're the damask rose, the rose damascena. So you've got the cabbage rose is commonly called, and that's the rose centifolia, and rose gallica. But the main ones that we use are rose damascena and rose centifolia. Now, rose damascena is the Turkish rose, or the rose otto, and the rose centifolia is the rose absolute. So we'll look at those. The difference between the rose absolute and the rose otto is its extraction method. So rose otto is steam distilled and rose absolute is solvent extracted. So what that means is the rose absolute is, the rose otto, steam distilled. It's used in they collect the roses. They collect them in the same way, no matter how they're being distilled, extracted. So they try and get it in the morning when the petals are still dew, and they say the dew is still on the petals. Sorry, and they say that it's easier to extract the oil from. So Deb has just given me a 5-minute warning, and I have got so much to go. So I'm going to get all this information about those sorts of things. Please go to either Sal's book and look up the monograph, or look up this monograph, because all this information is in here. But I want to talk to you about the properties of it and why you want to use it for heart healing and what you can do, and a little bit about the fun personality. So often when a client comes to me and they're looking at me, I will want to see, their personality of their oil, their personality, and if there's an oil that sort of matches their personality. And I love talking about the rose one. So Valerie Ann Worwood is the author of The Fragrant Garden and The Fragrant Mind, and she's beautiful. She writes beautiful as well, but she sort of defines this. She says here that the Rose Damascena epitomizes the gentleness of the female spirit. She suggests that Rose Otto is perfection personified. She explains that Rose Otto has personalities, have the wisdom to know that there are far greater things in the universe than them, and that humans do make mistakes. They love cooperation and cannot understand why everyone doesn't operate on the same level as they do. So do you know people like that? That they are typically your rose personality, or maybe you're looking for that in your life. Maybe you're searching, maybe you're wanting healing, and you're wanting to reflect more compassion, more understanding that there's more than just you in this world. And so that's what you're looking for, and that's why I would be using Rose Otto. You'd be getting that sort of that feeling. So Rose Otto is also really good around that sensual and sexual healing as well. So if there's been any grief, hurt, or loss from a damage in that sort of that space, Rose Otto has an amazing healing properties. It's if we think about the plant, don't raise your eyebrows, but if we think about the aroma tree, the plant, the flowers of the tree are the reproductive part of the plant. So the flowers are very good at helping us with our reproductive, process and physical parts as well. So if somebody's having some sort of dysfunction in any way, I would be encouraging them to use Rose Otto, maybe with some jasmine or some, it's an aphrodisiac. So it's a really good way of encouraging sensuality and sexuality again, which is a beautiful, nourishing, gorgeous way of doing it. Now there's so much I'm having to go over. I write so much more. The difference between these two oils I want to talk about really briefly is not only that physical, the physical way that they're extracted, and therefore they smell very different, and they do. I find they do. The Rose Otto has a lighter smell. It's more top. It's so. I think where's Susie? Oh no, it's Worwood again. So it's Valerie Ann Worwood. She describes the two. She explains that Rose Absolute is more with the desires of the heart, whereas Rose Otto is like the realms of angels. And I like that because it's the Rose Absolute's often used more in perfumery. It's got a deeper note. It's got a more sensual. It's got a bit more hardiness to it. I find it's a bit more, like that. Whereas the Rose Otto is this light, fresh, beautiful, and it's like little kisses. Angel kisses all around you. It's just this beautiful light blend. So I use them very different, they're very different oils. So I use them in those ways. Something to remember is that rose is a very good oil. It's a strong antidepressant. So it's really good, again, if people are feeling low or flat about it. It helps with irritability, and it helps with insomnia. So there are other things that you can use to remember that's going on with this, this grief and this feelings that we've got. It can really open you up. Another one that I use it for, I had a client recently, and I know that they would not mind, but I'm not mentioning any names, but I had a client that had a lot of anger. And so I found Rose Otto to be a really good oil to use to help with soothing that anger. It's when you smell it, it's just got that softness about it. It's that gentle oil. So I would combine that with something, well, they had wounds going on, so wound healing. So that with frankincense or that with myrrh, I mixed it with benzoin. It was just that, you know, a beautiful blend. Something to remember with heart healing and rose is the ability to let go. You know, we hold on, don't we? We really hold on. We sometimes, and that letting go, we might feel like we're just losing it forever. I find that rose is a really good one to sort of allow you to do that. Cypress, juniper, they're all oils that are really good at supporting. So you could use rose with a little bit of rose with juniper to help with that sort of letting go feeling, allowing you to just move through. That would be another way to go. So blending the oils, you know, depending on what's going on with your world, you can use the different ways. There's so much that I wanted to talk about. You could even, I wanted to touch on even the rose crystal, the rose quartz crystal. Again, I use these in my clinic. I have a grid, and I make up a grid for my clients just to when they come in, I make a different grid for each client. And rose quartz is commonly in the mix. Rose quartz, if you look at it here, it's all about self-care. It's sort of said to be really healing on the heart. It's one of the most commonly used for healing properties. It's very good to promote joy and love and emotional healing, and you can use that by putting it in your workspace, putting it at home, putting it in the center of the house. And allowing the whole house to sort of absorb the energy. That's one way of doing it. You can use the crystals, you can carry one in your pocket. There's lots of different ways that you can use the crystals, but it's another beautiful way of getting that gorgeous energy of heart healing, and that you can either use at home or you can take it with you and have it in your space. There was so much more I wanted to talk about. How are we doing for time, Deb? We must be.
Yeah, 33 minutes.
Oh, we're done. Okay. So there's so much. I'm going to continue talking about this over the next few days on the Facebook group, because there's so much more I wanted to share with you that I just didn't get to. Even things like the colours of roses and how the different energies of that work. I wanted to talk more about how to use them in different ways. So I'm going to take that and take that to our online. So if everyone wants to join me, I'd absolutely love that. So make sure you join our Facebook group if you are not already a member, but it's the Perfect Potion Facebook community group. And Deb will send a link, I'm sure, again as well. So now we've got some question time. So has anyone got anything that they'd like to ask me? And I hope that that's giving you some ideas of how I use rose and why it is so successful at healing issues of the heart and allowing us to support ourselves and feeling that real connection with ourselves and other people. So it's a beautiful way. So Deb, I can't see anything other than the first screen. Sorry.
Okay. Rose Brown has asked, did I miss the explanation of the difference between rose and rose otto?
Sorry, what?
The difference between rose and rose otto.
So rose otto is steam distilled. So it's and it has. It is used much more in so it's a lighter oil, and it has more properties around skin rejuvenating. It's used in lots of skin preparations. It's the one I use most commonly in for healing and for heart like for love, grief, loss, those sorts of things. Rose Absolute has a more hardy, a more it's solvent extracted, and so it has a more hardy sort of body. It's got a heavier body, even if you know. It's used more in perfumery. Now, Rose Absolute can be, if it's used in certain amounts, can be a little bit skin, causes skin irritation on some people. So just be aware of trying it. Like, I use it with my clients, but I am a little lighter when I use it. So it's a bit more heatier, more heavier. But if I'm wanting that really softness, that gentleness, that nurturing lightness, I'll go for Rose Otto. If I'm wanting a bit more oomph and more expression and sensuality, I'll go the Absolute. So does that make sense? I hope that helps. If it doesn't, make sure you just send me a little message on Facebook.
Is rose safe to use with pregnant clients?
Oh, what a great question. Yes. So some people may say that rose is an emmenagogue, which means it brings on menstruation. And rose is often used in essential oil blends. I use it all the time for clients that have got menstrual conditions. So amenorrhea, which is lack of periods, or dysmenorrhea, or menorrhagia, which is so lack of periods, heavy periods, irregular periods. So it's hormone balancing, and it can be, used in those ways. But when you're pregnant, those sorts of conditions don't impact us, when we don't get a period because we're pregnant. So it won't bring on bleeding. It won't bring on a pregnancy, doing anything like that, because that's not its action. It doesn't, if that makes sense. It's not an emmenagogue because we don't have a period. It, like all essential oils, I really not on the side of caution, I suppose you would say, but I tend to find when I'm pregnant, I'm not pregnant now, and I better not ever be again. I've had my babies, thank you. But when I was pregnant, I used oils all the way through, but I didn't use them at any more than 1% blend. So it's more looking at those sorts of things. So making sure that you're not using a lot of essential oils, and mix them up. So use your different oils at different times. So you're not constantly putting it into your body daily. Maybe use rose for a couple of days, and then you might want to use a little bit of geranium, or you might want to use a bit of lavender. And again, small amounts, less than 1%. But excuse me, yes, it is absolutely safe to use rose when you're pregnant. And in fact, I used it and continue to use it on clients, and I find that it calms them and relaxes them and allows their skin to be beautifully soft and rejuvenating through this amazing time. And if you're pregnant, congratulations. Anything more, Deb?
Which rose oil would you use for skin in jojoba oil or for face, and how much per ml would 3 drops per 15 ml be okay? Okay, great question. So that is very similar to our beautiful rose 500 roses. So this is Rose Otto plus other amazing omega oils in here to help with skin. So you would use Rose Otto. So Rose Otto is the oil. It's the one that's known to be, cell rejuvenating, help with, dehydration, plumping skin, that's the sort of thing. So yes. And yes, for your skin and your face, you wouldn't use more than 1%. So 1% blend means 1 drop every 5 mils. So 3 drops in 15 mils would be
fantastic. And you would just be able to use that daily on your skin at no trouble at all. And that would help with making your skin feel and look amazing. So yeah, that's great. But risotto.
Someone's asking, is there a session on blending oils?
Oh, so creative blending is a workshop that I do, that I've actually done. It's on our Thinkific platform. So if you go into Perfect Potion website and you go into learn, and then you go into online learning. So and on that that's a platform that and it has many courses, and one of them is called Creative Blending. And we really talk about in that how to blend. So we talk about different typing blending models. We talk about how to blend different oils. We talk about synergy. So there's lots of that. So I would recommend that one if you're wanting to learn how to blend itself, because it's fun and it's wonderful, and you want to learn to be, doing your own blends. So that would be the one that I would go for. Yeah.
Can you use rose essential oil dropped on, say, frankincense resins and burnt on charcoal?
Oh, right. Yes, you can, but it might be an expensive exercise, and I don't know how it would go. I've never done that. Like I've used the frankincense granules before, and they're amazing. You may want to do that, but I'm not sure if the heat would evaporate the oil quickly. I've not done it, but yeah, there wouldn't be any harm in it, but it may be a more expensive option. Instead, you may want to use it in a diffuser. That might be a little bit like using it in a diffuser would definitely, you'd be able to, it would go through the room and you'd smell it. It wouldn't be smoky like like when you're using the frankincense granules, but I do get it. I do love using the granules as well. They're gorgeous.
How would you use rose for grief?
So sadly, I have treated most recently people that have been suffering some terrible grief. They've had some really awful incidents happen. I look at them and talk to them, and I find out how they're dealing with their grief. Is it sad? Is it anger? Is it frustration? Is it, what's going on? I then blend rosotto with whatever it is, or sometimes it is just pure rosotto. And I would use it in a massage oil. I would use it in, you could put it into the bath, you could put it into a diffuser, but I would probably recommend most commonly getting the oils on you. As an aromatherapist, I also find that I strongly recommend that you go and get a treatment and you go and get a massage. You may cry the whole way through it, and if you're with a nurturing, wonderful therapist, they would completely understand. You may actually cry all the way through, but I just find that with clients, that touch combined with the essential oils, combined with that compassionate listening, it just is such a nurturing sort of experience. I'm treating somebody, as I said, and she's coming to me weekly at the moment, and we're just really breaking through some serious sort of grief. And I would strongly recommend, now, if you don't have the time or the capacity to get a massage, I'd be self-massaging, because that's another form of just love and self-respect and when you massage yourself with these oils, if you're talking about heart healing, it's not, slap it on, get out of the shower, oh, here it is, it's on. It's really making it feel, like a ritual, like having something ritualistic about it, like, warming the oil in your hand, experiencing it, smelling it, deeply breathing, doing some meditation, and then just rubbing it, on your oil, on your body, experiencing your body, feeling your body, just try and be as present as you can. I just find if if you're putting it in a diffuser and you're still going off and being as busy as a bee, I don't know, is that really helping? Like, is it? I don't know, maybe on an energetic level, the rose oil, you're inhaling it and you're walking past it and going. But if you're really wanting to get that deep healing, I would strongly suggest that there's a connection and a slowing down and a listening to yourself aspect.
Which perfect potion balm has the most rose in it?
Oh, balm. Do you know what? Can I get back to you on that one on the Facebook group? I'm not sure if which one of our balms have it. I would definitely say if you don't have a balm, it'd be the pulse point. This is just pure jojoba oil with the essential oil in it, and it's you're getting a beautiful oil that you can rub in as you would a balm. So it would probably be able to be distributed over your body similar to what a balm would. So you could use it on the back of your neck. You can use it all around you. I honestly smell like the rosiest rosy thing that you could ever smell right now. I've been putting rose all over me through this whole time. And I'm feeling incredibly happy as well.
Also the precious rose body oil.
The precious rose body oil, that's a great one. Yeah, Deb. So precious rose body oil is another one that's because it's possibly at around 3% as well, whereas this one's 5%, but it's smaller. And it does smell incredibly rosy. So yeah, the precious rose body oil. Yeah. So we've come to an end. I really hope everyone enjoyed it. To my lovely contacts that sent me little messages telling me that they were coming along today, thank you Petra and Miriam and a few others. To everyone else, I'm really grateful. I really hope that you got a lot out of it. It's been a really big thing lately, and I think even just talking about rose tonight's made me feel a little bit better. So thank you. As I find every time you share with others, there's healing back in yourself. So I really hope you enjoy it. Get your rose out and use it. And if you've got any questions, please contact me. And I hope that I'll see you again at our next workshop. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Lots of love. Bye.